Hello, this is Max. Today you will learn a chilling story about giant ticks and the madness of a woman. Warning, there will be spoilers. Christine, a 40-year-old mother, leads a fascinating life as a popular fashion designer specializing in children's wear. However, one day, while attending a fashion show, she receives a distressing phone call that abruptly changes her demeanor. Intrigued, she retreats to her office to answer the call, only to be confronted with shocking news of burned bodies being discovered. Overwhelmed by the devastating revelation, Christine hastily ends the call. Suddenly, a disheveled dog infested with ticks appears before her, its eerie white eyes devoid of pupils. This puzzling occurrence is particularly unsettling because the fashion show takes place on the 24th floor, making it impossible for any animal to reach that height. Frightened by the situation, Christine attempts to seek help but is interrupted when the dog vigorously shakes its body, unleashing a swarm of ticks. In the chaos, one of them bites Christine on the back of her neck. In the blink of an eye, the dog vanishes into thin air, leaving Christine bewildered. Fast forward 8 months, and Christine finds herself battling a mysterious illness, resorting to medication to alleviate her symptoms. She constantly experiences fatigue, sleeplessness, and amnesia, which impairs her memory. Her husband, Felix, does his best to care for her, but Christine prefers to be left alone. To distract herself, she continues to go to work every day and spends quality time with her daughter, Bobs. One day, while Christine is home alone, an unexpected knock reverberates through the door. Standing outside is Diana, a Filipino woman claiming to have been hired as a housemaid. Confused, Christine tries to recollect whether she had indeed hired her, but her illness has rendered her memory unreliable. Despite her uncertainty, Christine, plagued by her deteriorating health, decides to accept Diana as the new housemaid. Guiding Diana through the house, Christine familiarizes her with her duties and provides her with a designated room. After Christine departs, Diana opens her suitcase, revealing her clothing and personal belongings. Diana produces a photograph of her own child and gazes at it with intense focus. This prompts her to reminisce about the day her daughter came into the world. Strangely, at the same time, Christine, who is lying down in another room, also has a vivid recollection of that exact moment. After some time, Diana notices a plum tick on the floor and carefully places it inside a matchbox. She then tucks the matchbox into her suitcase and proceeds downstairs, coinciding with the arrival of Felix and Bobs. Diana introduces herself to the family, but they appear distant and unwelcoming. Following an upset departure by the young girl, Diana offers to prepare dinner, which Christine agrees to. In the next scene, Diana is shown cleaning the fireplace, meticulously gathering a significant amount of ash and wrapping it in a newspaper for a particular purpose. Suddenly, she overhears an argument between the couple in the adjacent room. Felix expresses his frustration over the unapproved hiring of a housemaid, while Christine responds by granting Diana a week to prove her worth, with the possibility of termination if her performance falls short. Later in the evening, the new housemaid begins cooking dinner, skillfully infusing the meal with dubious-looking herbs. The household bird observes this and starts chirping loudly, but Diana silences it with an unsettling glare. Subsequently, she serves the prepared food to the family, hopeful for a positive response. Much to her satisfaction, everyone relishes the dish, commending the inclusion of Filipino flavors in the meat. Meanwhile, as Christine attempts to grasp a glass of wine, her hands tremble uncontrollably, accompanied by sharp pain in her arms. Displaying extensive knowledge of traditional healing methods, Diana rushes to Christine's aid. She lays Christine down and proceeds to administer an unorthodox procedure, tickling her body. Surprisingly, this unconventional approach proves effective as Christine experiences relief, gaining the ability to move her hands freely without pain. Witnessing this remarkable turnaround, Felix becomes impressed and finally starts accepting Diana as the new housemaid. Under the cover of night, after the family has retired to bed, Diana discreetly enters Christine's workshop. Inside the workshop, Diana's gaze shifts between the sewing machine and a photograph on the wall, capturing Christine posing with a young Filipino girl. This triggers a poignant memory of Diana's own daughter, who, for unknown reasons, is absent from her side at present. Before retiring for the night, Diana carefully places the collected ash on her doorstep. As she does so, she hears faint whispers of the young girl saying, "I am with you." The following morning, Bobs, the young girl of the household, notices the ash positioned outside Diana's doorstep. To her surprise, there are tiny footprints imprinted on it, suggesting that a child had visited during the night. Meanwhile, Diana wakes the couple, Felix and Christine, serving them breakfast in bed. While Christine expresses gratitude for her thoughtfulness, she explains that they prefer to have breakfast downstairs in the kitchen. Upon hearing this, Diana departs, but not before thoroughly surveying every corner of the room, indicating that she harbors ulterior motives. Before departing for school, Christine and Bobs engage in a private conversation within the car. Bobs begins to describe the peculiar footprints she discovered earlier, but is interrupted by Diana. It turns out that Christine has invited Diana to accompany them, as she claims to be familiar with the route to Bob's school. Unfortunately, as they proceed, Christine experiences severe memory loss, rendering her unable to recall the way. They step out of the car in an attempt to seek directions using a search engine, but Christine's illness has progressed to the point where she struggles to type accurately. Observing her deteriorating condition, Diana suggests employing a Filipino folk remedy to heal her. Although Christine is typically skeptical of such superstitious practices, her desperation drives her to agree, considering that conventional medicine has proven ineffective. Returning home, Diana prepares a smoky room and fills a mason jar with murky water, commencing the process of cleansing Christine. Astonishingly, the remedy yields positive results, significantly improving Christine's well-being. Curiosity piqued, she inquires how Diana acquired this knowledge, prompting Diana to disclose that it was bestowed upon her by an individual named Duma. Years ago, during Diana's childhood, a mysterious old woman, known as an Yuma, visited her house on a cold, rainy night. This Yuma possessed supernatural abilities to both heal and bring destruction. When the old lady passed away, her powers were transferred to Diana through a small bird. As a result, the young Diana became attuned to nature and began forging connections with herbs and plants. Using this knowledge, she developed the ability to instantly heal people. While many saw her as an angelic figure, others suspected her of being possessed. In the present time, Christine finds the story difficult to believe, but Diana assures her that belief is not necessary. What truly matters is embracing the treatment. The next day, Christine presents Diana with a list of her daily symptoms, ranging from hallucinations and hearing loss to daydreaming. She explains that whenever she visits a doctor, the symptoms miraculously vanish. Christine then inquires if Diana can provide a complete cure, to which Diana responds with a confident sure. In the subsequent scene, Diana initiates the treatment, incorporating ash baths, acupuncture, and even some unorthodox practices involving burning strands of Christine's hair. Regrettably, these methods only exacerbate Christine's condition, compelling her to return to her medication. However, one day, Christine discovers that her pills are missing. She questions Diana, who reveals that she personally ordered their disposal. Later, while Christine is alone in her room, she suddenly hears the sound of a weeping child near the sewing machine. As she approaches to investigate, the entire room becomes engulfed in flames. Frantically calling for help, Christine's husband, Felix, rushes to her aid, only for the room to swiftly return to its original state. Concerned about his wife's deteriorating state, Felix confronts Diana in her room, urging her to stop toying with Christine's well-being. However, Diana asserts that she is merely trying to help. She aims to banish the demon within Christine's mind and bring about a permanent cure. Felix becomes enraged, but he decides to address the matter the following morning. As Felix departs from the room, he is suddenly attacked by a bird. In his attempt to fend it off, he accidentally smashes it against the wall, discovering to his horror that it was their own pet bird. Perplexed by how it escaped from its cage, Felix is left bewildered. The following morning, a grieving Bobs buries the bird, and Diana seizes the opportunity to bond with her. Manipulating the young girl, Diana plants the idea that her father is a murderer while assuring her unwavering support. Bobs, finding solace in this connection, eventually accepts Diana as her friend. Over the next few days, Christine continues her dubious remedy, gradually experiencing some improvement. Feeling more confident, she decides to go to work to present her new idea. Meanwhile, Diana takes on the responsibility of picking up and dropping off Bobs from school every day. One afternoon, after school, she takes Bobs to a park to have some fun. The outing triggers memories of when Diana used to bond with her own daughter, capturing joyful moments through photographs. At home, Felix alone, he decides to investigate further into the housemaid. In the fireplace, he finds a bag with all his wife's medicines. Upon Christine's return, he immediately shares his findings, leaving her shocked. Enraged, she confronts Diana, demanding that she leave their house immediately. Surprisingly, the peculiar housemaid offers no resistance. She calmly retreats to her room and begins packing her belongings. Before departing, however, she releases a tick into a vent. She also approaches Bobs and requests one last favor, claiming its importance in ensuring they remain together forever. Shortly after, Diana finally departs, leaving Christine and Felix relieved. That night, as the couple peacefully slumbers, Christine suddenly becomes agitated. She witnesses a giant tick sucking blood from her husband's face. The next day, Bobs deceitfully tells Christine that Felix was the one who stole the medications. The young girl has grown so attached to Diana that she is willing to manipulate her parents into an argument. The plan succeeds, and Christine admonishes Felix for lying to her. Despite Felix's attempts to explain the truth, Christine refuses to believe him. That night, as Felix ascends the stairs, another bird begins attacking him. Unable to fend it off, he stumbles and falls down the stairs. Paramedics arrive on the scene and transport him away. With her husband now absent, Christine's paranoia intensifies day by day. She becomes incapable of caring for her daughter, and the bite on the back of her neck worsens significantly. To divert her attention from everything, she attends a children's fashion show one day, but this proves to be a grave mistake. Christine experiences hallucinations once again, witnessing everyone infested with large ticks. Overwhelmed by terror, she screams and behaves erratically, leading others to believe she has completely lost her sanity. Consequently, her manager insists that she take time off and stay at home until she recovers. Devastated by her temporary dismissal, Christine spirals even deeper into despair. At times, she fails to recognize her own daughter and harshly tells her to go away. One day, while lying on her bed, the doorbell rings. Bobs excitedly answers it, finding Diane outside. Even Christine appears relieved. She implores the voodoo woman to cure her, and Diane obliges. The procedure commences as Diana feeds Christine a spoonful of ash. Following this, the movie transitions into a flashback. On a particular day, Diana takes her daughter to Christine's workplace, a clothing warehouse. From the clothing tags, it becomes evident that Christine is the owner of the establishment. Coincidentally, Christine arrives at the warehouse for an inspection, conversing with the manager about expediting the process and ensuring the doors are locked to prevent theft. After some time, Christine encounters Diana's daughter and takes a photograph with her, the same picture seen in Christine's room earlier. Several days later, as the temperature rises inside the warehouse, Diana seeks permission from the manager to step outside for a drink. Tragically, just as she leaves, an air conditioning vent malfunctions, causing nearby clothing to ignite. The fire rapidly spreads, trapping everyone inside since the doors are locked. By the time Diana realizes what is happening, her daughter has already succumbed to the flames. Overwhelmed with grief, Diana vows to exact revenge upon the owner of the establishment. It is revealed that she was the one who had teleported the tick-infested dog into Christine's office previously. Returning to the present, Christine's consumption of the ash has left her in a delirious state. Diana compels her to sit at the sewing machine and work double shifts, recounting how her innocent daughter perished due to someone else's mistake. Now, Diana asserts Christine will endure the same fate. Hours later, Christine's condition rapidly deteriorates, causing her to vomit blood. She is then transported to a room engulfed in flames, where she witnesses a haunting image of Diana's partially burned daughter. Desperate for help, Christine screams, but ultimately succumbs to the fire, perishing in agony. With her target eliminated, Diana encounters Bobs outside, bidding her a final farewell. She then ascends to the rooftop of the house, committing an unthinkable act. Once her breathing ceases, the bird that resided within her mouth transfers into Bobs. Now, Bobs becomes the new Yuma. The movie concludes as Felix arrives home, only to discover his wife's charred remains. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe and give this video a like. Goodbye.